Most people believe that the food sitting in their kitchen right now is safe, normal, even healthy. But what if some of the foods you eat every single day weren't just unhealthy? What if they were quietly working against your body, slowly increasing inflammation, disrupting your metabolism, and setting the stage for long-term damage without any obvious warning signs? Today, we're breaking down 18 foods you're eating that could be secretly destroying your body, and why some of the most normal choices might actually be the most dangerous. Number 1. Processed deli meats. They're quick, convenient, and for a lot of people, they feel like a harmless staple, something you can throw into a sandwich without thinking twice. But processed deli meats are one of those foods where what you don't see is exactly what matters. Because behind that clean uniform slice is a mix of preservatives designed to keep the meat looking fresh for far longer than it naturally should. Compounds like nitrates and nitrites are commonly used to prevent bacterial growth and maintain that appealing pink color. But inside your body, those same compounds can break down into substances that have been linked to increased health risks over time. And it doesn't stop there. When these meats are exposed to high heat, like when they're fried or toasted, they can form additional compounds that place even more stress on your system. It's a slow, cumulative effect that most people never notice in the moment because nothing feels wrong right away. That's what makes it so easy to overlook. Because this isn't about one sandwich, it's about repetition. Day after day, week after week, small exposures start to add up in ways that aren't immediately visible, but can have long-term consequences if they become part of your everyday routine. And once you start paying attention, you realize just how often foods like this show up in a typical diet. Number 2. Sugary breakfast cereals. They're often the first thing people reach for in the morning. Bright boxes, bold health claims, and phrases like whole grain or fortified with vitamins printed across the front. But what those labels don't show you is what's actually happening inside your body the moment you eat them. Because many breakfast cereals are built around refined grains and added sugars that digest incredibly fast. Within minutes, your blood sugar spikes sharply, giving you that quick burst of energy that feels like it's doing something good. But your body can't sustain that spike for long. What follows is the crash, that sluggish, tired feeling that hits not long after breakfast. The sudden hunger that shows up even though you just ate, that's your body trying to recover from the imbalance. And over time, repeated spikes like this can start to affect how your body regulates energy altogether. What makes it worse is how early this habit starts. For a lot of people, this isn't just an occasional choice. It's something they've been eating since childhood, every single morning, without ever questioning it. And when something feels that normal, it becomes almost invisible. But once you step back and look at what it's actually doing, it's hard to see it the same way again. Number 3. Flavored yogurt. At first glance, it seems like one of the healthiest options in the store. It's associated with gut health, probiotics, and clean eating, the kind of food people reach for when they're trying to do something good for their body. But the version most people buy isn't the same as the one they think they're getting. Because flavored yogurt is often loaded with added sugars, sometimes in amounts that rival desserts. What starts as something marketed as light or healthy quickly turns into a product that delivers a heavy dose of sweetness your body doesn't actually need. And the problem isn't just the sugar itself, it's how easily it blends in. Unlike candy or soda, where you expect sweetness, yogurt feels safe. It doesn't trigger the same caution, so it's easy to consume regularly without realizing how much you're actually taking in. Over time, that daily habit can quietly shift your overall sugar intake higher and higher, without ever feeling excessive in the moment. And that's what makes it so effective at flying under the radar. Because it doesn't feel like a bad choice, until you look a little closer. Number 4. White bread. It's one of the most common foods in the world, soft, simple, and part of countless everyday meals. But what gives white bread that smooth texture is exactly what strips it of its value. During processing, the grain is refined to remove the bran and germ, the parts that contain most of the fiber and nutrients. What's left behind is a product that digests quickly, entering your bloodstream almost immediately as glucose. And just like with sugary cereals, that rapid digestion creates a spike. Your body responds quickly, releasing insulin to bring those levels back down. But when this cycle happens over and over again, it can start to wear down your system's ability to regulate it efficiently. The result? You feel full for a short time, then hungry again not long after. That constant cycle can lead to more frequent eating, more cravings, and a pattern that's difficult to break once it becomes routine. And because white bread is so deeply embedded in everyday meals, sandwiches, toast, side dishes, it's easy to consume it multiple times a day without ever thinking about the cumulative effect. It's not dramatic, it's not immediate, but over time, it adds up. Number 5, bottled salad dressings. This is where things start to get a little more deceptive, because when most people make a salad, they're trying to do something healthy. It's a conscious decision: more vegetables, lighter meals, better choices. But what gets poured on top can completely change everything. Many bottled salad dressings are made with highly processed oils, added sugars, preservatives, and flavor enhancers, designed to make them taste better and last longer on the shelf. And while each ingredient might seem small on its own, together they can turn a clean, nutrient-rich meal into something far less beneficial. The issue is subtle. You don't see it. You don't taste anything wrong. In fact, it often tastes better, richer, more satisfying, more addictive. And that's exactly the point. Because the more enjoyable it is, the more likely you are to use it again. And again, without questioning what's actually inside. So what starts as one of the healthiest meals you can make, quietly becomes something else entirely. And that shift is so easy to miss that most people never notice it happening at all. Number 6, granola bars. They're marketed as fuel, something quick, convenient, and just healthy enough to feel like a smart choice when you're on the go. But when you look past the packaging, many granola bars are built in a way that's surprisingly close to candy. Syrups, added sugars, and processed oils are often used to hold everything together and enhance flavor, creating something that's dense, sweet, and easy to eat quickly, but not necessarily something your body processes well over time. And because they're associated with fitness, hiking, and clean eating, they come with a built-in sense of trust. You don't question them. You grab one between meals, maybe even 2, thinking you're doing something beneficial, when in reality, you may just be stacking more sugar and processed ingredients into your day without realizing it. It's one of those foods that feels healthy enough to avoid suspicion, but not clean enough to truly support your body the way you think it does. Number 7, plant-based meat substitutes. They've exploded in popularity, positioned as a cleaner, healthier alternative to traditional meat. And on the surface, that idea makes sense. But many plant-based meat substitutes are heavily processed, designed to mimic the taste and texture of real meat, using a long list of ingredients that don't resemble anything you'd typically cook with at home. Binders, flavoring agents, stabilizers, each one serving a purpose in creating that familiar experience, but also moving the product further away from something whole and natural. And while they may be plant-based in origin, that doesn't automatically make them simple or minimally processed. In fact, in many cases, the opposite is true. What you end up with is something engineered to look like food, taste like food, and feel like food, but not necessarily something your body recognizes the same way. And that gap between perception and reality is where the confusion begins. Number 8, low-fat products. For years, low-fat was seen as the healthier option, It sounded logical. Less fat should mean better health, better weight control, better outcomes overall. But what many people didn't realize is what happens when fat is removed from food. Flavor disappears. And to bring that flavor back, manufacturers often replace it with sugar, artificial ingredients, and additives that change the nutritional profile completely. So while the label says low fat, the product itself may be doing something very different inside your body. Instead of slowing digestion and helping you feel full, these modified foods can lead to quicker spikes in blood sugar, less satisfaction after eating, and a tendency to consume more over time. It's a trade-off that isn't immediately obvious, because the label still feels like a healthier choice. But once you understand what's been added back in, that label starts to mean something very different. Number 9. Protein bars. They're everywhere, marketed as a convenient source of strength, recovery, and balanced nutrition, especially for people trying to eat better or stay active. But what makes protein bars so appealing on the surface is often what makes them more complicated underneath. Because many of them are built using a combination of processed protein isolates, artificial sweeteners, and preservatives designed to extend shelf life while maintaining taste and texture. On paper, they check all the right boxes: high protein, low sugar, functional ingredients. But the way those ingredients are assembled can make the final product feel very different from whole, recognizable food. And that difference matters more than most people realize. When something is engineered to that degree, your body doesn't always respond to it the same way it would to simpler, less processed sources of nutrition. The effects aren't always obvious right away, but over time, they can begin to show up in subtle ways, from changes in energy levels to shifts in digestion and cravings. And that's where the disconnect starts to become clear. Because something can look like a healthy choice, feel like a healthy choice, and still not function the way you expect it to once it becomes part of your everyday routine. Number 10. Instant noodles. They're cheap, fast, and almost always within reach. For a lot of people, they've been a go-to meal for years, something easy to make when time, money, or energy is limited. But what makes instant noodles so convenient is also what makes them problematic over time. They're typically loaded with sodium, preservatives, and flavor enhancers, designed to make them taste stronger and last longer on the shelf. And while one serving might not seem like a big deal, the cumulative effect of regularly consuming that level of sodium and additives can start to put stress on your body in ways that aren't immediately obvious. It's not something you feel right away. There's no immediate signal telling you something's wrong. But over time, small patterns like this can begin to shift how your body responds, especially when they become part of a routine rather than an occasional choice. Number 11. Microwave popcorn. It's one of the most familiar snacks there is. Simple, quick, and almost automatic. Something you make without thinking, especially during a movie or late at night. But what most people don't consider is what's happening before it even reaches your bowl. Some microwave popcorn products rely on chemical coatings inside the bag and artificial flavorings designed to mimic butter, creating that rich, satisfying taste without using real ingredients. And while those elements help deliver the experience people expect, they've also raised concerns over time about what repeated exposure might mean for your body. The issue isn't always obvious. You're not tasting chemicals. You're tasting something engineered to feel familiar. And because the experience is so consistent, same smell, same flavor, same routine, it becomes something you trust without ever really examining it. Food number 12. Frozen processed meals. They promise convenience in the simplest form. A complete meal, ready in minutes, with no preparation, no cleanup, and almost no effort required. And for busy schedules, that kind of simplicity is hard to ignore. But what makes frozen processed meals so reliable is also what makes them more complex beneath the surface. Because in order to maintain flavor, texture, and appearance after long periods of storage, These meals are often built with higher levels of sodium, added preservatives, and ingredients that are specifically designed to withstand freezing, reheating, and extended shelf life. What looks like a balanced plate on the outside, vegetables, protein, grains, has often been altered in ways that change how your body responds to it once you eat it. And that difference isn't always obvious in the moment. Because nothing about the experience feels unusual. It tastes familiar, it feels filling, and it does exactly what it promises in terms of convenience. But when meals are designed primarily for longevity rather than nutritional quality, that trade-off can begin to matter more over time, especially when they become a regular part of your routine. Number 13, artificial sweeteners. They were introduced as a solution, a way to enjoy sweetness without the calories, without the sugar, without the consequences. And for a long time, that's exactly how they were marketed. But the relationship between sweetness and your body is more complex than just calories. Artificial sweeteners interact with your taste receptors in a way that can still trigger expectations. Your body senses something sweet and prepares for energy that never actually arrives. And over time, that mismatch can influence cravings, appetite, and how satisfied you feel after eating. In some cases, instead of reducing sugar intake, they may actually reinforce the desire for more. And because they're found in so many diet and low-calorie products, it's easy to consume them regularly without realizing how often they show up in your day. Number 14, vegetable and seed oils. They're one of the most commonly used ingredients in modern food, showing up in everything from restaurant meals to packaged snacks, salad dressings, and even the oil sitting on your own kitchen counter. And because they're so widespread, they rarely feel like something worth questioning. But the way many of these oils are produced is far more complex than it appears on the surface. In order to extract and refine them at scale, they often go through multiple stages of processing, including high heat and chemical treatment, which can alter their structure and make them more prone to breaking down, especially when they're exposed to repeated cooking at high temperatures. And over time, that instability can contribute to oxidative stress in the body, something that has been associated with inflammation when it becomes a regular part of your diet. The issue isn't always noticeable in a single meal, because when something is used occasionally, the effects can feel minimal. But when it shows up consistently, across multiple meals, day after day, it becomes much harder to track how often you're actually consuming it. And even small impacts can begin to accumulate in ways that aren't immediately visible. And that's what makes it so easy to overlook. Food number 15, packaged snacks. They're incredibly easy to start eating and even harder to stop. The combination of crunch, salt, and flavor is carefully designed to create a satisfying experience that keeps you reaching back into the bag without really thinking about it, turning what feels like a small snack into something much more frequent than you realize. And that's not accidental. Many packaged snacks are built around refined carbohydrates, processed oils, and highly optimized flavor profiles that are engineered to be consumed quickly and in larger quantities. You don't have to be hungry to eat them. And once you begin, it's surprisingly easy to continue without noticing how much you've had. Over time, that pattern can begin to shift how your body responds to hunger, fullness, and cravings, gradually increasing your reliance on foods that don't offer much nutritional value in return. Number 16, store-bought smoothies. They look like the definition of healthy, with bright colors, fruit-based ingredients, and labels that highlight vitamins, antioxidants, and natural benefits. At a glance, it feels like one of the safest choices you can make. But the way many store-bought smoothies are made changes how your body processes them. Blending fruits without preserving their fiber, adding juices, sweeteners, and flavor enhancers, And packaging everything into a convenient drink can transform something that appears clean into something that delivers a concentrated dose of sugar very quickly. And without fiber to slow that process down, your body responds rapidly, creating the same kind of spike and drop effect seen in other high-sugar foods. What makes this especially misleading is how closely it resembles something genuinely healthy. It looks right, sounds right, and feels like a good decision. Number 17, ketchup. It seems simple, almost insignificant, just a basic condiment added without much thought to meals you've eaten countless times before. But what makes ketchup easy to overlook is exactly what makes it so easy to consume regularly. Many brands contain added sugars that turn even a small serving into something more impactful than it appears. And because it's used in small amounts across multiple meals, it becomes one of those ingredients that quietly builds up over time without drawing attention to itself. You're not eating it in large portions, and it never feels like a major factor in your diet. But frequency changes everything. Because when something feels too small to matter, it's often the last thing people think to question, even when it shows up far more often than they realize. Number 18, coffee creamers. For many people, this is part of a daily routine that feels almost automatic. Coffee in the morning, creamer added without hesitation, the same process repeated every single day without much thought about what's actually being included. But many non-dairy creamers are made with processed oils, added sugars, and artificial flavorings designed to create that smooth, rich taste people have come to expect. And while each serving may seem small, the consistency of that habit is what makes it significant. Over time, even small additions like this can begin to influence your overall intake in ways that don't feel noticeable day to day, but become more meaningful as the pattern continues. Now you've seen what's really hiding in some of the most common foods people eat every single day. The truth is, it's not just about one meal. It's about the patterns you repeat without even thinking. And once you start paying attention, you start seeing it everywhere. If this opened your eyes, hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned to Face the Foods. Because the more you know about what you're eating, the more control you have over your health.